As we can see, a large international team worked on this article. The article is large. The translation turned out to be impressive. This presentation doesn't cover the entire scope of the article, but highlights only a few of its many features. The authors compared this method to how humans can perform a new language task from only a few examples or simple instructions. The traditional method is fine-tuning, whereas 0, 1 and few shot require the model to perform the task with only forward passes at test time. In this work, authors doesn't fine-tune GPT-3 because their focus is on task-agnostic performance, but GPT-3 can be fine-tuned in principle, and this is a promising direction for future work. Zero-shot learning provides maximum convenience, potential for robustness, and avoidance of spurious correlations. In some cases, it may even be difficult for humans to understand the format of the task without prior examples, so this setting is in some cases unfairly hard. Nevertheless, for at least some settings, zero-shot is closest to how humans perform tasks. The reason to distinguish one-shot from a few-shot and zero-shot learning below is that it most closely matches the way in which some tasks are communicated to humans. For a typical dataset, an example has a context and a desired completion. For example, is English sentence and the French translation. And few-shot works by giving key examples of context and completion, and then one final example of context with the model expected to provide the completion. To study the dependence of machine learning performance on model size, authors trained 8 different sizes of model, ranging over 3 orders of magnitude from 125 million parameters to 175 billion parameters, with the last being the model called GPT-3. Datasets used to train GPT-3. Weight in training mix refers to the fraction of examples during training that are drawn from a given dataset, which authors intentionally do not make proportional to the size of the dataset. As a result, when authors trained for a 300 billion tokens, some datasets are seen up to 3.4 times during training, while other datasets are seen less than once. Based on the analysis in scaling laws for neural language models, authors train much larger models on many fewer tokens that is typical. Participants were asked whether an article was written by a human or machine, with results showing that larger models were more difficult for humans to distinguish from human-written articles. People's ability to identify whether news articles are model-generated, measured by the ratio of correct assignments to non-neutral assignments, decreases as model size increases. In Lambda dataset, the model is asked to predict the last word of sentences which require reading a paragraph of context. It has recently been suggested that the continued scaling of language models is yielding diminishing returns on this difficult benchmark. The Vinograd-Chemas challenge is a classical task in NLP that involves determining which word a pronoun refers to, when the pronoun is grammatically ambiguous but semantically unambiguous to a human. Recently, fine-tuned language models have achieved near-human performance on the original Vinograd dataset, but more difficult versions. Thank you for your attention.